Hey there, people. So today I am bringing you my rockets and launchers guide. I'm going to cover all the rockets, launchers, and other ammo, which are the best launchers on all platforms, launcher weapons, of course this is, with demonstrations. So first of all, launchers can only be obtained in hard mode and only after you've defeated Plantera. Most launchers are auto-fire. I will mention the two exceptions, and there are 9 in total, 3 of which are exclusive to the updated platforms. So 6 of the launchers use rockets, 3 use other special ammo. For the Shroomite armor set specifically, all of these are boosted by the Shroomite helmet, which is meant for rockets and rocketry and similar weapons. So even though not quite all of them actually use rockets, these are the ones that are counted as that, so they're categorized together. Now, first let me talk quickly about rocket types. So there are 4 types of rockets. They are categorized with Roman numerals, and they are all sold by the Cyborg. And as far as damage, the rocket-based damage is added to the weapon-based damage. So there's Rocket 1, which is always available from the Cyborg once he's available after you defeat Plantera. And the base damage for Rocket 1 is 35 before the update and 40 since the update. Rocket 1 never destroys blocks. Rocket 2 is available only during Blood Moons. The base damage is 40 on all platforms, and it can destroy blocks if the weapon allows that. So Rocket 3 is available only at night, any night. Base damage is 55 before the update and 65 since the update. Again, it, like Rocket 1, never destroys blocks. And Rocket 4 is available only during solar eclipses. The base damage is 69 before the update and 65 since then. And it does destroy blocks like Rocket 2. So basically, to simplify things, it actually was simplified with the update that since the update, Rockets 1 and 2 have the same damage, and 3 and 4 have the same damage as each other, whereas before that, each has a different damage value. So on all platforms, however, Rockets 1 and 3, the odd numbers, cannot destroy tiles, where Rockets 2 and 4, the even numbers, can destroy blocks, blow up stuff, if the weapon also can destroy blocks. So both the weapon and the rocket have to have that ability to be able to blow stuff up as far as actual blocks. So let me just demonstrate the whole can and can't blow stuff up thing. I'll use the rocket launcher because that's one of the ones that can blow up stuff. And there you go. You see it kills the critter, but it does not destroy the ground. That's with Rocket 3, one of the odd numbers ones. And I've got Rocket 2 because I don't want to blow up too much stuff. The radius is also bigger, I believe, with Rocket 3 and 4 versus Rocket 1 and 2. So I picked 2 because I just want to blow a little bit of stuff up. And there you go. It can blow up stuff. It will take out the ground, and you can even use it to take out trees. So there you go. Now let's get on to the actual weapons, the launchers themselves. I'm going to show you these roughly in the order that you're likely to be able to get them. Again, this is all after you've defeated Plantera. And I better switch that back. The first 3 I'm going to talk about, you can hurt yourself with them. Whereas, and actually, yeah, the first 3, you can hurt yourself, and they will destroy blocks if you use them with Rockets 2 or 4. So, first of all, let's talk about the grenade launcher. It's the first one that you can get because it's a drop from Plantera. It lobs shots, so you see they are affected by gravity, and they bounce off blocks, but they will explode on contact with enemies. And you can see nice area effect there. And they will also explode after a set amount of time, which is why you can see when that bounces there, and then it will explode. It's a few seconds. So grenade launcher has 55 base damage before the update, 60 since the update, 29 use time, so you can fire it reasonably fast. It's average, and it's a 1 in 7 chance to drop from Plantera. Now this next one you're reasonably likely to be able to get, because once you defeat Plantera, your cyborg will show up if you have a house for him. So the proximity mine launcher fires rolling shots that disappear. So sort of like the grenade launcher, but you'll see it doesn't have as much velocity. They will disappear if they don't hit something. So you see there, it kind of will lay in wait. There you go. And yeah, they'll go into kind of a stealth mode. You can sort of see it, but it almost disappears. And they will explode either when it hits an enemy, or an enemy hits it, or after about a minute. It says on the wiki when enemies are near, but I was finding that basically an enemy has to step right on it. So if I put a bunch of those here and then I spawn a mimic, oh, I'm gonna get out of the way because, yeah, see, there you go. I can actually hurt myself with these. Perfect example. And you'll notice the one that's under the platform, the mimic doesn't hit that one. It's only the one that's above the platform. And it seems like only one at a time, actually, for that matter. Boom. There you go. Nearly killed myself. But, yeah, there you go. And that's how the proximity mine launcher works. And there you go. After a minute, that one finally blew up. And yeah, so it's 80 base damage and 39 use time. It's actually the slowest. You see, it's pretty slow to fire additional shots. And it is sold by the cyborg once he comes along after you defeat Plantera. Essentially, yeah, apparently it actually works differently on the current non-updated mobile version. That may change when the update comes for mobile, but on the mobile version for now, it works essentially the same as a rocket launcher, but apparently the rockets only explode if they hit solid blocks. I don't know if that means they pass through enemies, which would be weird. That's what the wiki says. I don't have the mobile version here to test that with. But basically it acts more like a rocket launcher. So speaking of the rocket launcher fires rockets straight ahead. They are not affected by gravity. They are pretty fast though. And they explode on contact with enemies or blocks. So if I fire that at the actual block below the platform, it will explode there too. Or if I fire it down there, it'll explode when it hits the ground. And so there you go. It has 50 base damage and 29 use time, so same firing rate as the grenade launcher. It is dropped by skeleton commandos in the dungeon, and of course they appear after you defeat Plantera in the dungeon. Not that you defeat Plantera in the dungeon, but they appear, skeleton commandos, in the dungeon after you defeat Plantera. So rocket launcher, again, can destroy blocks like the previous two, which means it can be used for digging or mining or digging a tunnel, whatever. But you have to be careful because you can hurt yourself with the splash damage, like that. So be careful with that. Only if you have rocket 2 or 4, of course, will it destroy the blocks. Now, with the rest that I'm going to talk about, the other 6, none of them actually can hurt you, the player that fires them. And all but one will not destroy blocks regardless of what type of ammo you're using. So I will get to the exception. But first of all, the nail gun. The nail gun is only available, it's one of those 3 that's only available on the updated platforms. And of course it fires nails. It's counted as a launcher. The nail gun is counted as a launcher, even though the stake launcher is not counted as a launcher. Stake launcher is counted as a repeater. Nail gun is counted as a launcher. Don't ask me why. But the nail gun has 85 base damage and 115 total damage with ammo. It has 14 use time, so it's very fast. And again, most of these actually are auto fire. I'll tell you about the ones that are not. And as you can see, the initial nail actually does not do a lot of damage immediately, but the nail sticks to the enemy and then explodes, and that's where all that damage comes in, and it's actually an area effect at that point. Small area effect, but area effect. So actually it can do a lot of damage. It's actually quite a powerful weapon and good against both single targets and crowds for those reasons. It is dropped by Nailhead during a solar eclipse. Nailhead is an enemy that appears in the solar eclipse only after Plantera is defeated. Of course, you can get solar eclipses before that, but not Nailhead. And Nailhead only appears on the updated platforms, and only after you defeat Plantera. So once you have the nail gun in your inventory, the arms dealer will sell you nails, only if it's in your inventory. So there you go. Actually quite a powerful weapon. Moving along though, Stynger, this is not exclusive to the updated platforms, but does have its own unique ammo. It fires Stinger bolts, which explode and shatter on contact, and you'll notice those little bits that come out, they will also explode. So, sort of like crystal bullets, you know, shatter and fire additional hits around, except that these ones, the actual additional bits explode as well. So that's interesting. Obviously, that makes it reasonably powerful as well, especially against groups or segmented enemies. It has 42 base damage and 58 total with the ammo. If you're on a pre-update platform, it was updated or upped just slightly, increased slightly to 45 base damage and 62 total since the update. So you get an extra 4 base damage total since the update. It's 21 use time, and yes, it's auto fire. So again, pretty powerful, and it's a 1 in 8 chance to drop from the golem. The Stinger bolts, again, if it's in your inventory, if you have the Stinger, then the arms dealer will sell you Stinger bolts. So moving right along to the last one actually that uses special ammo, and that is the Jack-o'-lantern launcher. It lobs bouncing jack-o'-lanterns. And they are actually quite bouncy if I get them over top of the dummies. They bounce a lot. But as you can see, they explode on contact with enemies, or they will also explode after a certain amount of time. It's about 7 seconds. So that one's going to go over there and then eventually explode. I think that might have hit my garden. But yeah, it is not auto-fire. Actually, no, it is auto-fire. The wiki said it's not auto-fire, but it's auto-firing for me. So there you go. It is dropped by the Pumpkin during the Pumpkin Moon event. The drop rate during Pumpkin Moon varies, so just keep killing pumpkins until you get it. It has 65 base damage, or 95 including the ammo, and 29 use time, same as grenade launcher and rocket launcher. And again, like the other ones, once you have the Jack-o'-lantern launcher in your inventory, the arms dealer will sell you Jack-o'-lanterns. So there you go. Next one I'm going to talk about is from the other event, the Frost Moon. The Snowman Cannon uses rockets, but converts them into homing snowmen. So it's consuming rockets as ammo, but it changes them. You can barely see them because they move so fast, but they're little snowmen. And it is homing, so let's show you that. Pretty effective. And as you can see, pretty high firing rate as well. It is the exception, though, that this one can destroy blocks. It will not hurt yourself like the other ones that I was talking about, all the later ones after those first 3. None of them can hurt you, the person firing them, but it can destroy blocks if you pair it with rockets 2 or 4. And it is dropped by the Ice Queen, specifically during the Frost Moon. Again, that rate actually varies. It has a base of 67 damage, and add on that the damage of your chosen rocket variant, and that's true on all platforms. And it is a 15 use time, so as you can see, quite fast. And that makes that pretty useful. And speaking of useful, the Electrosphere Launcher. So this and the last one I'm going to talk about are both exclusive to the updated platforms. This one uses rockets and converts them into electrical spheres. Hence the Electrosphere Launcher. So you'll notice wherever I put my cursor, that is where it will explode, or it will explode when it hits something. As you can see, the spheres actually stay there for a little while and do continuous damage, which is what makes this weapon so powerful. I included it in my Ranger loadout guide for that reason. In the right circumstances, this can be very, very powerful. As you can see, lots and lots of damage there. So this is 40 base damage plus the damage of your rocket, and because that sphere remains in place, it does continual damage, which is like massive, massive damage, as you can see there. The 11 use time makes it actually the fastest of all the launchers in terms of the firing rate, but the spheres don't stay for too long, and it is not auto-fire. This is the other one, the one that's actually not auto-fire. So there you go. It is good against invasions and stationary targets, particularly because you can, if there's like, say you're playing the Old Ones Army event and they're coming through a portal, just fire a bunch of these right by the portal. It seems like it will only allow one in the area. I believe I actually had read that as well, but forgot about it. So you can see if I try to fire one in the same region as the original one, it will only allow one within its own space. So you have to space them out a bit. But yeah, it's quite fast. You just have to keep clicking or pushing or tapping or whatever. And the only problem is because these spheres are stationary, it's not as good against fast-moving targets. But otherwise, it can do a heck of a lot of damage in the right situation. It is a 1 in 9 chance to drop from the Martian Saucer in the Martian Madness event, which again is also exclusive to the updated platform. So last one I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to do a demonstration against the Eye of Cthulhu for a few of these, but last one I'm going to talk about is a Celebration. Again, only on the updated platforms. Fires 2 rockets per shot consumed. You can see there's a bit of a kind of random spread variation as far as what happens with those. The rockets explode like fireworks, as you can see. They will explode either on contact with enemies, on contact with blocks, or after. It's actually a fairly short firing distance. It basically happens to be about the edge of the screen. It's not where my cursor is. It's just a certain distance. Happens to be about the edge of the screen at this zoom level. So it's actually a limited range, but obviously a decent range. And yeah, so it's not so powerful against single enemies, but it's good against crowds because of that explosion effect. You can see fairly large radius explosion, but some of the other weapons you can get at that point of the game can do more damage per second against a single target, but good against crowds. So 65 base damage plus the rocket damage multiplied by the 2 shots, and it's a 1 in 9 chance to drop from the Moonlord. So let's test a few of these out against the Eye of Cthulhu. Maybe I'll even test them all, or, you know, I'm not going to use like one against him the whole time. So you can see it's going to take me a while if I use the grenade launcher. Still going to take me not quite as long if I use that, but I'm probably going to hurt myself. Rocket launcher, a little better. Well, actually the proximity mine launcher is more damage per shot. Nail gun is probably going to do all right with this. But there is the delay, as you can see, with the nails taking a second to explode. But you can see that finished him off pretty quickly. And let's move along to the next one, the Stynger. I think this is going to do pretty well. Yeah, pretty good. That's not going to take me too long to kill him with that. But let's get the jack-o'-lantern launcher in here. There you go. So those are both pretty effective. But here's where, you know, this is what I was saying about the... yeah, right, this is the Snowman Cannon, so I don't even have to aim with that. Well, I guess it's got a limited turning radius. You can see, quite effective, because it's homing. Homes in, rapid fire, quite effective. But the limitation of the Electrosphere Launcher is going to be that he has to pass through the Electrospheres. That being said, it does enough damage that, at least in this case, it doesn't matter a whole lot. It is very, very powerful. And last but not least, let's celebrate with the celebration. It's still pretty powerful. But it's not the most powerful because you can get the SDMG or the Phantasm. Those are going to take him out even faster. But hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. That's all your launchers and your rockets. Bye for now.